story that has so many different levels to it. Her energy is really just ridiculous. So everyone, please welcome Christina to the fireside chat. Well, we asked you what song would you have as your theme song right now that you just can't get out of your head. You chose that Katy Nichole song. Why that particular song?
So I recently just heard that song a couple of weeks ago. I heard it on the radio while I was driving. Right away pulled over, just took a picture of the screen so I could remember it later, because I kind of only caught half of it. Once I listened to the whole song, it was so touching as to what I currently feel. I'm physically limited on what I can do. I was always that person that would jump for everybody. If you needed something, if I saw you post something on Facebook, I need help moving something, I need help cleaning, I need help cooking, I'm having a benefit. I always wanted to cook for somebody or do something. This song is where it says, I'm going to pray for you because it's all that I can do. I know that it's not all that I can do, but at this point, it is the best thing that I can do. It's more of praying for everybody out there, praying even for the people that I don't know, just kind of trying to get them through their lives. I know that I can't help everybody, but I do know that what's helped me through everything is God, is just having God on my side, knowing him, having a relationship with him. And just all the words in that song is basically about being there for somebody and helping somebody. And that's really what I need in my life. So it's what I want to be able to do for other people.
And I think a little birdie told me that you can sing a little bit. You've been working on it?
I can. I'm working on it. Don't make me sing right now. That song, I've always, I don't want to say that I'm going to die soon because nobody wants to think that, but I do know my health situation. And I do want there to be a song that I sing at my funeral. I want it to be something that people are going to play at my funeral where they're going to hear my voice. And that is the song that I've chosen, just to get down, to learn the words to it without, Katy singing it, just to have my voice on there. It's something that I always tell everybody, like, I'm praying for you. And I am, I am always praying for people. So when I heard that, it just hit me right away. Like, this is the song that you need to sing. This is the song that needs to be your voice.
Wow, that's powerful. Okay, there's so many different questions that I want to ask you. We'll get to your story and all of that, because there's definitely a reason why you gave that answer, that response just then. But first, let's rewind a little bit. Tell us what you currently do.
I work from home. I work for a company that's based out of Maryland. I do scheduling for car dealerships for services, so oil change, maintenance, stuff like that. So there's about 65 different dealerships that I do scheduling for. It's very different from what I've done my entire life, but it's really what I needed at this point. So I do work from home.
Was that something that you were already prepared for? Did you develop that skill over time?
I was not prepared for that at all. Every job that I've ever had has been physical, has been warehouse work, has been overnight stocking shelves. I've even done property maintenance, cleaning outside, just because it's something that I've loved to do. I like to be active. I like to move around. Never have really been a customer service person, as far as talking to people or having to deal with angry customers. So this is not something that I've ever done, but it was something that I needed to do in order to maintain employment. Physically, I wasn't able to do any of the stuff that I was doing before. So it was hard. It was a transition. Going through orientation, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to stick with this. I don't think this is something that I'm going to be able to do. And I'm about 2 months away from being here for 2 years. So it was a very, very hard transition.
You say being there for 2 years, so that takes you back to just before COVID really impacted the country. How did that impact your job?
That was the blessing. So I started working from home. I want to say a week before COVID came out. And I have part of my health is I have autoimmune diseases. So being able to work from home right when that started was awesome because I had just got hired. I think I got hired and orientation started about 4 days after they announced COVID. So it would have been something, the job that I was at actually did shut down because of COVID. So I would have been without a job. So this was actually a huge blessing at the right time.
Let's talk about your kids. I know I mentioned you are a mother of four. Can you give us the roster?
Yes. So the oldest is 20 years old. He's my son. He's already out of the house. He moved out about a year ago, now lives with his fiance. He's a plumber. I'm very proud of him for that. It was something that he didn't have on his list of things to do. Really not even sure how he began doing it, but he fell in love with it. So he did pick a trade, which was something that I was very stuck on. I have a 17-year-old daughter. She's a senior in high school, works a part-time job. I'm very proud of her. She's doing amazing. I don't have any issues with any of my kids. I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed. Very nervous. I have a 13-year-old son. He's my little football star. He's been playing football since he was 4. And he's just very driven. He's got ADHD. He's got anxiety. So he deals with some of the stuff that I deal with. And it's been a blessing for me to have it because I know how to work with him. And then I have a 9-year-old daughter that is a 4th grader, and she is just a person all in her own. I don't know how to explain her too much, other than she's my boss. She does tell me what to wear and where to go and when I can leave the house. But it's been amazing. My 4 kids they've seen me go through so much. I know they worry about me, but they're all very helpful. They know when mom's done, physically or just exhausted. They're very quick to want to make dinner or just tell me, Mom, I've got it. I'll eat noodles. I'll eat a Hot Pocket. So I've got some amazing kids.
And tell us a little bit about what your kids have seen you go through. Say the last 8 years.
Hold on.
We forgot to mention you have pets too. So.
I do.
What have they seen you go through, say the last 8 years?
So about 8 years, I started with heart problems, which I didn't understand what was going on. I was very tired all the time to the point where I wouldn't wake up for sometimes days. So there were times where I couldn't take them to school. Or I didn't even wake up till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and they'd be like, Mom, you didn't take us to school. So I didn't understand what was going on, but they did see me drastically decline health-wise. I wasn't eating. I wasn't able to get up. I wasn't able to attend any of their school functions, especially my boys being in football. I wasn't able to sit through their games or sit through their football practice. And that was just the beginning of it. I found out about 8 months after feeling like that, where I realized I wasn't able to get up anymore. I was passing out. So I did pass out at my daughter's school when she was in pre-K, which she's 9 now. So I picked her up from school, and as soon as the teacher handed her to me, I just collapsed. I fainted once driving. Thankfully, my kids weren't with me, and ended up finding out that I needed a pacemaker, emergency pacemaker put in. So I did have to have heart surgery. So they did see me struggle with having surgery, which was very scary. Recovering from heart surgery is very difficult. It's not an easy thing. All the muscles in your chest, you use so much. I don't think you realize how much you use them until it's hard to use them. So getting out of bed, just laying down or anything was hard for me. And after that, I went through PTSD. I went through panic attacks, anxiety attacks, where I was calling the ambulance 2 to 3 times a day because I was so scared. I could feel my pacemaker going off in my chest. I knew that something was wrong. And my anxiety took me into a very dark place, where I became depressed. I became suicidal. This was within that first year of having my pacemaker. So the kids did see me go through depression. I started sleeping outside the church that was outside down the street from my house, which is the church I grew up in. I actually would sleep in the driveway because I was afraid to harm myself, but I knew the feelings I was having. And I would tell myself, you're not going to do this on church property. And I got placed in a mental hospital. So they witnessed depression. They witnessed me going from a full-blown mom, which I've always been, to not being able to be a mom anymore, and basically struggling to live, basically struggling just to survive and be normal. Um, After that heart surgery and after being in the hospital and getting some help, I felt like things were going to be okay. I thought they were getting better. And about 4 years later, I ended up with uterine cancer. Um, so I emergency had to have a full hysterectomy. So that was very emotional. That wasn't an easy thing to go through. And you hear cancer, it's scary. So my kids again saw me go through surgery, saw me have to deal with just the changes in my body, and um, being that I had just got over such a traumatic experience from me for heart surgery, and feeling like things were getting better, to feel like things were kind of going backwards again. Depression is always there. Depression is a thing that I do deal with daily. Just knowing that I'm not who I used to be. It's really not something that you kind of get used to. Knowing that you can't be the person that you want to be physically. Um, so I did go through that about 4 years ago, and then about 3 years ago, I started getting sick again, um, which I did think was going to be my heart. I was tired a lot. I was hurting. Um, I started feeling like I was overdoing myself, where I would wake up the next day and just think, what did I do yesterday? Did I lift weights and not know it? Was I running, was I running for hours? My body started getting to the point where it was giving up on me. And I pushed through that. I pushed through that for about 6 to 7 months, just kind of ignoring it, just kind of telling myself, you're okay, you'll get through it. And started going to the doctor. Well, I was always going to the doctor, but just got to the point where I felt like I needed to tell the doctor, hey, something's not right. I'm not feeling good anymore. We checked my heart and it wasn't that. And through the past 3 years of being sick and being drained and tired, they've added, I think so I now have 19 diagnoses that is basically taking over my body. So the main things that I have right now are my heart condition. I have several heart conditions that my heart does not work on its own. So I have the pacemaker. I have several autoimmune diseases, which causes me, I have infusions, antibody infusions every 3 weeks. So those are not easy as well. Each infusion has its own reaction. It's never the same. It's not like you take a pill every morning and you're going to feel the same thing. Each infusion will take a toll on your body a different way. So recovery from each of those is always different. You don't know if you're going to be able to get up that day, or if you'll be in bed for 3 or 4 days. So that's something that's been very hard. I have Crohn's, which I have trouble eating. I have trouble using the bathroom. So going out to eat with my family, they know that we may have to sit there a little bit longer. They know that I eat very slow, or I don't want to go certain places because I'm not feeling good. I'm in pain. I'm tired. I can't sit for too long, and I can't stand for too long, and I can't walk for too long. So all the diagnoses that they've given me, it's overwhelming. It's hard, but I do think more about how my kids are seeing me, how they know that I don't give up. They know that I push as hard as I can. They ask, or, they will say like, oh, we can't do that. Mom can't. And I know that they don't mean ill by it. They're thinking about me. And I'll say like, no, I can, let's go, let's do this. And they worry about me the entire time. They look at me, are you doing okay? How are you feeling? And they can see it in my face when I'm not. So it's a lot of them knowing that I'm sick, knowing that I can't do what I used to, but also knowing that I'm willing to try. I'm willing to push and fight and just be as normal as I can for them.
Christina, where does that come from? The I can't give up. Where does that come from?
It comes, it's for my kids. It's for my kids. A lot of the diagnoses that I have are hereditary. I go to genetics testing. My parents have also agreed to the genetics testing so we can find out what's going on with me. Even with the 19 diagnoses that I have, the doctors don't feel like they have a bottom line yet. They still feel like there is an underlying condition that is causing all of these, because a lot of them are diagnoses that you don't get until you're 50, 60, 70 years old. Like the pacemaker, I have neuropathy throughout my body. I have 3 forms of neuropathy, which you don't get until you're elderly. I have Sjogren's, I have glaucoma, and the Crohn's. There's just so many of those that you don't get until you're older, where they don't feel like they have the bottom line. So they're trying to trace it. And I worry that it's something that one of my kids is going to get, even my grandkids. And I want them to know that you can still live, if it does happen to one of them. I want them to know that you can still live a normal life, not to give up. I want them to see what I went through and see the fight in me, so that if it does ever come about that it's one of them or their kids or their grandchildren, they can say, grandma fought to the fullest. This is what grandma did. Grandma didn't give up. So that's really where my drive is just them knowing that, and not only just my kids, is I know that there are other people out there that have the same fight that I have. It may be rare, but there's going to be somebody that I know God's going to put in my path that's just going to be like, this is who I'm here to help. This is why I'm going through what I'm going through, is because there is somebody that's going to need to hear this, or there's somebody that's going to need to understand, how do I fight this? How am I supposed to continue? It's something that I wish that I had. My grandmother had a pacemaker in her 30s. She had a lot of illnesses, but she had dementia. When I got sick, she already had dementia. She passed recently, but I didn't get to talk to her about any of this. It's something that I wish that I had, is just somebody to say, this is how I got through it. This is how I made it. This is how I survived. I want to be able to do that, for whoever it may be down the road, because it is a very hard struggle.
Christina, that's one thing that just hearing your story, and we were talking earlier, that you never let it come out of your mouth, why me? Why is this happening to me? And you always started focusing on who you could tell your story to, who it might help. Can you just talk a little bit more about why helping your community through your story is so important to you?
It's hard when there's nobody there to help anybody. And that's really how it seems nowadays. It seems like nobody wants to lend that extra hand. And it's really not even a financial situation. It's nobody really wants to be there for each other. Nobody wants to give anybody that uplift, as far as even if it's just a few words. And I think that's where everybody struggles so much, is that everybody is just focused on themselves. No, what about me? This is my time. Well, I'm struggling too. Well, we're all struggling in some form, in some way, and we're all going to continue to struggle until we help somebody. I know that I had seen somewhere it was like an eye for an eye. Yeah, but when we keep doing that, everybody's blind. Everybody's struggling. We're not helping each other out. And I don't want to be that downfall. I don't want to be that person that is never helping anybody, because I know that just makes it harder on our community. which is going to make it harder on my kids, which is going to make it harder on my grandkids. We're not building anything when we're focused on ourselves. And I want to make my kids' lives easier in the future. I want to make my grandkids' lives. I live on the south side of San Antonio. I've lived here my entire life. Um, and I hope that my kids do too, just because I love this school district and these are the schools I went. But if we don't help each other out and we don't help build our community, it's going to be harder on the next generation and the generation after that.
I'm curious to know, how would you suggest your community could help itself?
I want to say more outreach programs. I want to say more volunteer programs. I don't know of too many. I've volunteered at a lot of churches, handing out food, even gone downtown to hand out blankets, but you don't find that too often. You don't find too many free counseling services. And counseling is a huge thing. I've been in counseling since I was 15, 14, 15 years old. And I understand that a lot of people don't do it because they can't afford it. A lot of people don't seek help because everything costs. And I just think that there needs to be more resources as far as being able to get people more financially organized, just telling them this is how you can do it. Not just giving, but being able to teach people how to help each other or where they can help each other at.
When we were talking earlier, you mentioned a little bit more about the finances and disability and how there may be some limits to what you're able to receive and what you're able to make. Can you share a little bit more about that?
That's really the biggest struggle that I have right now that I've learned. So from disability, I get $864 a month. It's not enough to live on. It's not. The reason they tell me that amount is because they're basing it off of what I've made in my lifetime of being employed. I became disabled very young. I became disabled at 33 years old. So I didn't have all these years to build up that amount to give for it to be able to support me more. Disability is not something that I ever thought that I was going to be on at this age. It's not something that I was looking forward to. So that is the check that they give me. And then I am able to work part-time, but I'm only able to make $1,000 a month, which would give me a monthly income of $1,800. That's not something that you can support a family on. They limit you on the amount that you can make in order to receive your Medicare, the amount that you can make in order for them to help you pay your premium for Medicare. And my premium is $134. So if I were to work any amount over that limit that they give me, they take my Medicare, which takes away my doctor's appointments, which takes away my infusions that I have to do in order to survive. A year ago, I was in a wheelchair. A year ago, I wasn't able to walk without my cane. And that's before I started my infusions. So these infusions have allowed me to have a little bit more of a normal life where I can get out of bed daily, where I can do stuff with my children. So by putting that limit on, you can't work any more hours or we were going to take away your medical coverage, it's hard because I want to be able to work. I want to be able to have more of an income to support my family, to not have to tell my children, no, you can't have this, or this is our limit. Because I'm blessed with the work from home job. I'm blessed to be able to do that. But even working from home, they tell you, you can't exceed this limit, that you can't, or we're going to take away your medical coverage. So you're stuck in a hard place. That's it. There's a wall and a wall, and that's all you get. And so it's very hard because before, and I think I had mentioned to you, I would be that person that would look on Craigslist and can you come, clean my yard for $40? I need housekeeping. I need something done because, there's people that struggle and need help with stuff. And then I needed help financially. But being that I'm physically unable to even do any of those things, it makes you very limited on what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to survive when you're giving me a budget that doesn't pay bills. It pays some bills, but it's not enough to run a household. It's not enough for a mortgage. It's not enough for light and water. Even the basics things that you need, that amount doesn't even cover it. So you don't really have anywhere to turn at that point.
You don't have to have a perfect answer, but what would be a solution that would help you thrive?
I'm not sure. I mean, upping the amount that you're able to work. I mean, as far as the government is concerned, that's a big thing because you're already disabled. You're already limited. You're already struggling with just being able to live daily and survive daily. So to put that amount as, okay, you're already disabled, but you can only work this little bit amount to help you out. That's like a slap in the face because I'm one of those people that is just trying to survive. I'm just trying to pay my bills. I'm just trying to make sure that we can manage. I'm not trying to get anything extra. Um, I've had a job before that had offered me a manager position that I had to turn down because they were going to pay me amount that exceeded what disability was giving me, and or the option they were giving me to make. And I told them, I said, I can't take this because it would go over my amount for disability. They're like, okay, what does disability pay you? So we can kind of up that amount. And I told them, it's not what disability gives me, it's the medical coverage that I need. And Medicaid is very limited on, you can only make $1,000 a month to qualify for Medicaid. Well, that doesn't pay my bills either. So it's really just, I've learned through all this, is you're really just stuck. You're really stuck in, do I want to just quit my job and live off the government? Do I want to just, give up and say, you know what? All right, this is the amount I'm going to live off of. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to reach out to everybody to get some kind of help. And it's not easy doing that either. So just kind of trying to find a middle line there. You're trying, what is that amount that you need? Because they don't count a lot of things into play when you apply for assistance. They don't want to count your car payment. They don't want to count your phone payment because those are extra things. But how do we get to our doctor's appointments? How do we contact our doctors? There's so many limits on everything for people that are really just trying to survive and just, make it through life.
Can you walk me through kind of the emotions of having to decide between two things that are really important to you, and knowing that whatever you choose, there's going to be some consequence a little bit, or some challenge?
The emotional part of that, it's depression. It's depression. There's it's feeling like no matter which option you make, there is going to be a negative. If I choose to make more money, then I can pay my bills, but then I'm going to lose my medical, which I know that I need. If I choose to stop working, I get my medical, but I'm going to struggle on a daily basis. It's a roller coaster of definitely starting to feel like I'm not enough. Um, I'm not a normal person. I'm not able to live a normal life. You do start to doubt yourself because you start to question, okay, what if I just push myself to the extreme? Maybe I don't need Medicaid. Maybe I don't need to be disabled. Maybe I can do this. You start having to ask yourself, are you not doing enough? Are you really not even trying hard enough? So the emotional part of it is a lot of crying crying in the restroom, crying in the closet so your kids don't see you. There's a lot of, holding back your emotions to work, to be able to get up every day, and you got to talk to customers no matter how you feel. You have to deal with other people that are angry on the phone, which is one thing I was very hard for me to deal with, was you have angry customers that are angry because of what they're doing, what's going on in their lives, or sometimes they're just angry because it's the type, kind of people they are. But you still have to smile. You still have to get through your day because this is your job. This is what is paying your bills. This is what is helping you. So having to hide your emotions throughout the day, at the end of the day, it's hard. It's hard. I do get those moments where I have to play a song like In Jesus' Name because I know that I have to cry. I'm to the point where, okay, let me find my song that's going to make me cry so I can get this out of my system so that I can survive tomorrow, so that I can get through, because I know that at some point I need that breakdown and that breakthrough just to make it another week. So the emotional part on this is it's very overwhelming. When I was put in the hospital, I think it's been about 6 to 7 years now for the extreme depression. It's not something that I wanted, but it is something that I'm very glad happened. I was there for 10 days. I did get a lot of help. I did 6 weeks of outpatient treatment, of counseling, of learning coping skills, of learning just how to get through hard situations. And that was the biggest blessing, was learning how to just survive what I'm feeling and anything that might come my way. And that's why I feel like that is such a huge thing for people, is to have a counseling, to have a counselor, have somewhere that they can reach out to, have outpatient, just training skills of how to manage things that are happening in our lives so that when it does happen to them, they know how to deal with it. Emotional is, I think, the hardest thing to deal with. It is harder than my physical, because you can't put a band-aid on it. You know, it's not something you can just put some Neosporin and you're going to heal. Emotional takes so much effect over your brain that it's the main, I think the main thing that needs help at this point.
Christina, thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being open about I mean, those are things that we didn't even discuss on our pre-call. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I'd love to open it up to my coworkers who are on the call.
Are there any other areas where you feel like we need to revisit and push for changes to make this experience for you and others much smoother?
I think one of the hardest things is, like I mentioned, I've been disabled since I was 33, and when they base that your amount that you get per month off of what you made in your lifetime, I think that that's very hurtful to somebody that gets disabled at a young age. You know, they don't look at the fact that you didn't have very many years to work. You didn't have very many years to put into that. So that is a huge policy that I think needs to be looked at differently, as well as, you know, everybody basically gets the same amount, and they don't look at that everybody's finances are very different. I know that there are, you know, some elderly people that live in a 1-bedroom apartment, you know, and this does cover them, but this is not something that I think they look at for somebody who has a family, somebody who is still taking care of other people, somebody who I don't just have myself to care for. You know, I think that amount would be okay if I was by myself, you know, and I just had a little efficiency and I was, you know, just having to do for me. But I do still have children that I have to take care of. I do still have other people that I have to care for. And I don't think that they think about any of that.
What will keep you engaged with us going forward? Whether that's in a group, what kind of group would be of interest to you? What things would make you want to each day or each week want to check in on UpTogether and some of the other members in the community?
I would love to be any form of support group. I would love to young people my age that are disabled, people that are my age that are struggling with just a sudden change in their lives, a sudden change in mothers. Mothers is a very huge thing. I know that there are fathers out there that are disabled as well, but being a mom, my whole life is my kids. You know, everything that I do is for them, and you know, they're very physical. You know, you gotta take them to school and pick them up, and football games and volleyball games, and I know that having a physical disability it weighs on you, and like I said, mentally it's hard. It's hard not having somebody to talk to. I have my counselor that I can talk to, but he doesn't have physical limitations. He doesn't have, he's not a mom. He's not in the situation that I'm in. So being able to reach people that are in my situation, that are going through some of the things, maybe not the exact same diagnosis, but knowing that you're not who you want to be and you're not able to do what you want to do, just knowing that you have that support there, somebody that can talk to, somebody that you can relate to, is a big thing for me. So I would love to be able to just help somebody, just even if it's just through conversation, just being able to be that support.
Christina, we are happy you are who you are, with the willingness to share the story that you have. We really appreciate you just being humble, open, and transparent with us today. Please know I've already flagged that I'm going to be reaching out to you several more times in the near future, just so that you can share your story, and just so that you can know some of the things that we're doing. And there was no reason for you to be nervous early on, right?
My hands are still so sweaty.
All right. Thank you so much.
It's hard to talk about my life. It's hard, but I know that it's going to help somebody. And that's really what my focus has always been, is just to help somebody, anybody.